Alrighty, hi guys. Today is March 19th, and just wanted to get on here and talk to you a little bit about analog and digital and which is more reliable. If you're really still confused about it, this will really help you to understand and help you prepare for it to answer the question that is the test. So hop on here and watch this, and it's going to help you a lot. So the question is analog or digital more reliable for storing and transmitting data? So what does that mean? Let's just break that down. So first of all, reliability means that it's the degree to which you can depend on something that it will consistently work well and do the job that you want it to do, that you need it to do to the best of its ability. Okay, so you can depend on it. So which of those, digital or analog, is more dependable at doing these two things? One, storing data. Storing means to keep or accumulate for future use. Okay, so let's talk about storing first. So which one is better or more reliable at storing data? Okay, so let's talk about some examples. You got music, okay? Here's an example. Okay, this is a record. Look how huge this record is. Okay, and it does store the data that you want. The music is stored there, but it's huge. It's going to take up a lot of space, right? Can you imagine storing all of these? This is just one album, and having to find space for all of that. Okay, versus if you have an MP3 player, which is tiny, and it's able to store so much more because it's storing it digitally and not analog. Whereas this has to have the full continuous wave. This only has to have the ones and zeros, so you can squish it down. You can fit thousands of songs on this and only like 25, 30 songs on this. Okay, so just talking about storage space, you could also talk about this, right? You got VHS tapes. Okay, so here's a VHS tape, and it's kind of bigger. Versus like today we have Blu-rays, right? So imagine, like, have you guys ever been to your grandparents' house, or maybe you have VHS tapes at your house, and how much more space do the VHS tapes take up compared to those Blu-rays that you have? These are much smaller, right? And you could even take all of your Blu-rays and take them out of your cases, and you could put it inside a little page protector, CD protector things, all inside a little thing that could be tiny. And even taking that further, digital, right? Nowadays, you don't even need this, right? You can watch it on Netflix digitally. You can watch, you can store these digitally, right? You can get the digital codes and store them. And that is way more. You can save way more space. So storage for digital takes up less space, which is a good thing, right? Another thing to think about with storage is let's talk about like a VHS tape. Okay, so this is our VHS tape. It was much more likely back in the day that if you put this in your VHS player, it's possible that the tape could get tangled. Okay, so let's look at the tape in here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see that in here, this is just like a roll of tape. See that? And on there is the video and the sound. And it's like, what happens if like I accidentally cut this or break it somehow? Then this is gone, and you can't just fix that very easily. The other thing is that if you have this and you it could also, it's very possible sometimes the tape would get caught inside your video player, and then you would pull out your actual movie and the tape would be all ruined, and you wouldn't be able to watch it anymore. Which is not that big of a deal if it's like this kind of a movie like Batman, but if it was a movie that you had recorded for like memories or like your wedding or something, and it got ruined like that, and you had no other copies, then that's not very reliable storage. Okay? Versus if you had digitally made a video, you could then copy that video 100 times, send it to people, things like that. And that gets us to transmitting data. Okay, so transmitting data. What does transmitting mean? In this case, transmitting means to pass something from one person to another, or to send out something, okay? Send out this data. So which one is easier, analog or digital? Which one is easier to send out information reliably? Well, let's think about it. If I have a movie that I want to share with somebody else, and I have it on VHS tape, and that person lives on the other side of the country, how am I going to get it to them? This is analog, and if I'm trying to send it to them, I'm going to have to send it in the mail, which will take days. It might get lost in the mail. It might get broken in the mail. You never know. So it's not super reliable, but compare that to if you have a digital copy of this movie, right? It's just on your computer. Then you can just email that digital code or that digital movie to that person, and they'll get it instantly, and they'll be able to watch it at their place. Or you can think about this versus watching Netflix, right? You have thousands of movies available to you on Netflix versus having to have all of these, and they're able to transmit it to you. There are some problems with digital transmission, right? If we're sometimes you'll get interference and things with digital if you don't have strong enough Wi-Fi or things like that. You also have to think about, so that can be a con of digital too. That, and you don't have to worry about that with physical copies, right? If you have a physical copy of the movie, it's not going to get that Wi-Fi problem, right? Also, one more thing I want you to think about is that something else that's really amazing about any digital form of media, music or videos, or even like a page that you typed up on your computer versus like on a typewriter, you're able to copy those images or those things so much easier on digital, which is part of transmission, right? If I want to send like this video that I make on my phone to my friends, right? I film the video and I want to send it to my friends. It's super easy, right? I can send it really quick. I can transmit it really quick. And I can make copies really quick, right? All you have to do is click copy, paste. You can paste it anywhere in your phone, on Facebook, on Instagram. Whereas back in the day, if you had made your home video on this, it takes a long time in order to copy that video that's on this physical tape and put it onto another piece of physical tape in order to share that with people. It took time, and then you have to have all of this chunky VHS tapes lying around to do that. And that's because they're analog. They have the whole wave on there. So some things to think about. Another example of transmitting is also like we've talked about with phone calls and how analog phone calls can get interference. Digital phone calls don't as much. Same as like TVs. Analog TVs, they'll get the snowy picture because of interference because you don't have the full wave. Whereas when you have a digital TV signal that you're picking up, all it needs is to be able to read the top bar, and then you come down and the bottom bar. So the ones and the zeros on the bottom. And if it can read those, it doesn't matter if they're a little staticky, as long as it can read that there's a 1 bar and a 0 bar, then it will get the same picture, which is more reliable. So those are some things to think about. I expect you to be able to answer this question really well and thoroughly. It should be at least 2 paragraphs long, and you should have 4 pieces of evidence. If you use any information from the internet, you can also source that information. So do well. If you're still confused, look it up more, research more, figure it out. Make a pros and cons list, and then use that in your answer. Okay? You guys have got this. I hope everything is going well. I hope everybody's safe with the earthquake. I just wanted to say really quick that if there is an earthquake, what we should be doing is not trying to run to get out, because it's more likely you'll be injured that way. But you should be trying to get under something like a table or a desk that's really sturdy and just hang out under there until the earthquake is over. You're more likely to be safe and not get injured if you do that. Whereas if you're running when the ground is shaking, you're likely to trip. Things are going to fall on you. You can injure and break limbs from your fall. So get under a table instead. All right, that's it. Hopefully everything else is going well for you. Hopefully you're doing well with digital learning. Please email me with any questions. Thanks. See you guys.